You know, when you get frustrated because you hear over and over again how the mainstream news media has an important role to play in society, and yet you find out that they're part of the overall scheme in the first place? Well, for the mainstream media, the bad news just keeps on coming. In the next couple of weeks, 2 more books about Joe Biden and his mentally addled state are going to come out. One by Jake Tapper at CNN, co-written by another reporter at Axios. And they talk about the shocking state of Joe Biden's mental decline. Let's not forget that Jake Tapper really took Laura Trump to task for commenting on Biden's mental state. But now he's suddenly seen the light and says that the media has had the wool pulled over their eyes. So too has Chuck Todd, formerly with NBC and Meet the Press, who really says that the blame rests with Democrat politicians. Gosh, I wish that Chuck Todd had a news show where he could have talked about this when he realized that this was the case. But to make matters worse, the mainstream media across the board, they took the White House talking points from the Joe Biden team, Karine Jean-Pierre as press secretary and others, hook, line, and sinker. They talked about so-called cheap fakes, that videos were altered to make Biden look more addled than he really was. Karine Jean-Pierre struggled to keep pace with him, and that this was all a Republican opportunity to try to make the president look bad. The bottom line is that the Democrats so desperately didn't want Donald Trump to win the White House that they would do anything to allow Joe Biden to keep that job. In fact, what we're learning is that one of these 2 new books discusses that White House staff even debated whether they would put Joe Biden in a wheelchair if he were to win a second term. And perhaps more disturbingly is that the mainstream media wholesale forgot their role of a check on those in power, in part because they were so worried that the videos or the discussion of Biden's decreased mental and physical state might hand the election to Trump, and secondarily because of their outright hatred of the orange man, that they couldn't help but just go along with the ruse that Joe Biden was okay. They realized that once that debate happened with Donald Trump in June of 2025, an early debate so that Biden could then coast the rest of the campaign. It was so bad, so horrible, epic horridness that they could no longer hide it. I realize that hypocrisy is part and parcel of daily life in politics. And the Democrats will now engage in whataboutism, where they'll go through and they'll find examples where the Republicans have done similar things where, this is not Joe Biden's fault, that it's all part and parcel of what normal political dialogue and discourse is like. The bottom line, the Democratic Party and the Biden White House misled the American people directly and overwhelmingly, and the mainstream media was complicit in these activities. Don't forget that. The mainstream media knew what they were doing and they went along. What do you think? I'd love to hear your opinion. Am I too extreme on this? Or are you frustrated as well that the media just abandoned its responsibility to the American people? Let me know. Please subscribe as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.